don't you hit us with the intro music?
Shot. 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 Shot.
Welcome to another Revenge of podcast One Shot. My name is Jeff Eyser, and joining me today is writer, producer, actor, director, Macon Blair.
Hey, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming. My God, I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you.
It's one of those things where you're one of those guys where you're like, oh, I've seen that guy. But then you like start to research and you're like, I'm a big fan of this guy.
Oh, well, that feels good to hear.
Yeah. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, but first and foremost, we're here to talk about your new movie, Idiots.
Yep. In theaters, August 28th.
Yep. I watched it last night.
Oh, cool.
It was hilarious.
Good. That's what we're going for.
Yeah. Incredible cast.
Yeah.
Incredible everything. Dave Franco, Mason Thames, O'Shea Jackson, Kiernan Shipka. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, the ensemble's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole movie.
I mean, hysterical. I will say that my favorite part of the movie, and probably the standout for me, is I know you know what I'm going to say, is Nicholas Braun.
Yeah. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. What a performance.
Yeah, absolutely. He just like showed up and ate, as they say. He had auditioned for the movie when we almost made it many years ago. Sort of fell apart. We had to put it back together, but his audition was so singular and so good from back then, and that was before Succession came out. So
wow.
I was kind of like, oh shit, he's probably too big for us now. He's probably outgrown us. And I kind of like hesitantly reached out to him and was like, do you think can you come back and do the movie? We've got it going again. And he did, and he's just delightful.
Wow. Yeah, I recently watched the Toxic Avenger, which we'll get to. Big fan of that as well. But I see a through line between like Nicholas Braun's character, Peter Dinklage, and like the killer nuts in the first movie. It's like a very Juggalo centric sort of thing happening there.
I kind of like it's not deliberate, but on some level, it must be deliberate. I sort of like stepped back from all of these, and I was like, I've got 3 movies in a row where it's bad guys in a van driving around, and there's just something about bad guys in a van with bad haircuts that I can't seem to get out of my system.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the whole Gathering of the Juggalos situation.
Well, okay, so Nick, in the first time we got it together, he is so dedicated. He went to the gathering.
No,
he got in character, did his hair and everything. But I mean, not in a like he really wanted to like be part of the scene, and he went there and hung out with people, got video of himself in character, hang out with people, getting to know them, and that was a big part of him working on this character.
That's incredible. Like him as an actor, I think is obviously Succession is great, but you don't really see like his talent in that. I mean, you see his talent, but his like range, I would say. But
when you meet him in person and you realize that there's Greg over here, and then there's what he does in this movie and everything else, it's like then his talent does come into full focus because you realize that he's none of these people.
Yeah.
And he's turning it on just as much for Greg as he is for the maniac in this movie.
Really. What I thought was so great about that character is like it's the movie itself can be wacky at times, obviously. But he somehow was able to be frightening also.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole thing, was that like, I mean, it's a comedy and that's why it's there, but like to put the characters in real danger, then he needed to be legit scary.
Yeah.
And not in a like slasher movie kind of way, but just in a like you don't know what he's capable of kind of way. And that was the point of just sort of like letting him be very open and honest when he when he takes Mason's characters captive, and then you start to wonder about what he's capable of.
Yeah. Tell me about the trajectory of this movie, because it kind of had fits and starts.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, was that it's a very old script. I wrote it I wrote it before the first movie that I directed. We almost made it in with the same producer, Alex Orr, in 2016 or 17, somewhere around there. And it was one of those things where like there was the money in place, and then it fell apart and it went away. And so we kind of put the script on the shelf. And after some time went by, I decided to take it out again. I sort of changed a few things about the script, some ages of the characters and stuff like that. And we just felt like enough time had passed that like we could take it around to a fresh round of places to try and find some money for it. And that's what we did. And so it was sort of starting over from scratch. This time it actually made it through production. So.
Yeah. Why'd you change the name?
Yeah. In my heart, it's still called The Shitheads. It was just sort of a calculation about like what we were seeing in terms of what we were going to be able to do promotion wise and marketing wise. And it was a bummer. And because it's kind of like, it's just a word. What's the big deal? But, it was going to cause problems with placement, of ads at certain places online and search menus for video on demand and like all this stuff that I wasn't really, it made us laugh. The original title did. And you don't take into consideration, like, who cares? I really thought nobody was going to care. And then once they started, to their credit, IFC, who bought the movie and is distributing the movie, they didn't like force it on us. They were just like, look, just so you know, this, and this are going to be a problem in these outlets and these platforms. And it just started to feel like we're a small movie. It's the summertime. We need all the help we can get to sort of like break through and get people's attention. And if our reach is being squashed because of something on the poster, then that's sort of like a self-own that we just didn't want to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, not to talk about myself, but I have I'm a set designer. That's like our main thing.
Oh, cool.
But we have a company that was originally called Flip This Bitch.
Yeah.
For like 20 years until just recently this last year, the SBA was like, we're not giving you any money unless you change your name. So
you couldn't like acronym it or anything?
No, well, now we're FTB.
Okay.
Yeah, officially.
Got it.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and it's kind of like if I'm... getting to make the movie at all is a huge, like, I feel so lucky for that. And really, we didn't have too many other problems. If that's the big one that we have to sort of compromise on, then I don't love it, but okay.
Yeah.
And I've kind of come around to like, as a word, idiots, it summarizes the movie perfectly. It's sort of like, it summarizes the characters in the movie perfectly. And now it kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to let the original one go. For sure.
There's a couple of things that like, I laughed out loud a lot, obviously, but there's a couple of things that stuck out to me when I was thinking about it today. There's like a line in the background where someone was like, y'all doing Mob?
Oh, and Toxic. Yeah.
Was that Toxic?
That was Toxic.
Oh, God.
No. But yeah. That's just
all
like...
right, well, that popped out to me, and I was like, that's hilarious.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. And I'll tell you why. Because I was in the editing room. I had two great editors, Brett Brockman and James Thomas, on that movie. And there was so much of just sort of like being in the editing room and trying to figure it out. And then just like as a way to kind of make each other laugh.
Yeah.
Like... just grabbing on my phone and recording a line like that, or just some other like just goofy off camera, like Simpsons style, just like somebody's hollering something, really just to sort of crack us up. But then those things would end up staying in the movie and we would end up screening it and it would get some laughs. And then we were like, okay, well, I guess it's in the movie. So now it's all over that movie.
Yeah.
If you like turn it all the way up, there's always somebody.
Oh my God. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself yet because I do want to talk about the Toxic Avenger. I watched them back to back, which is why I was like,
so they blur.
Y'all doing Mob? That's so funny.
Y'all doing a Mob?
But the other thing, well, the one thing I guess that stuck really out to me is when Dave Franco shits his pants.
That's the one that sticks out to a lot of people.
That's like, I'm a big proponent of fart and poo jokes.
Sure.
I feel like it's the purest form of comedy.
It's hard to miss.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
But this one in particular was so funny.
It was when you boil it down, it's exactly what you just said. It's like fart jokes are funny, and that's it. But if you were to intellectualize it, it's like he needed that character who is so arrogant, and so like he holds himself as so much better than everybody else around him for the first 20 minutes of the movie. He just needed to be so humiliated at that point in the movie to set up everything that comes afterwards, right? And so he just needed to be brought down low. And so, yes, it is.
How much lower could you possibly
How
go?
much lower can you go than that? It's fundamentally just a noisy fart joke, but It's to put him in a low place, so he's at this real disadvantage for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and that was like not only like a incredibly funny moment, but I felt like it was a turning point for the movie where like things started to roll in a different direction that was like more exciting, and like it got going.
That was the sort of like idea, was to sort of like lure people. When does this air, by the way?
Whenever you want it to.
We're okay to do spoilers, right?
Yeah,
Let's just assume that we are.
Yeah.
The idea was to sort of like lure people in for like, 20 minutes or so, to let them, I know what this movie is. They're going to go on this journey, and this kid that's having a hard time is going to get some tough love, and then he's going to be redeemed, and he's going to, and like we've seen this movie before, and kind of letting people get comfortable with that kind of vibe for just long enough, and then kind of like pulling the steering wheel and being like, no, it's going to be this other thing, and he's actually a monster, and these guys are totally incapable, and just sort of like started off in a familiar way, and then kind of puncture that around that point.
Yeah, and that's why I enjoyed it. Like like you said, it's like it starts out like, oh, we've seen this movie before, and then it takes a turn, and it's like, oh, this is actually this is good.
Yeah, cool.
I'm enjoying this.
Nice. That's what we were hoping.
That
for.
was the plan.
Yeah.
Kiernan Shipka was awesome.
She's amazing. She's so good.
Yeah, we were like, God damn, they got Sabrina in here.
Yeah. And I found her to be totally fearless, and just a lot of fun to work with, and just showed up ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
She's
the
awesome.
actress that played her mom was so funny. Also,
her name is Lynn Wanless. She's I think she just popped up in Cape Fear recently. She's a North Carolina actress. The whole movie, she spoke in a Ukrainian accent, to the extent that I was just, I mean, I kind of knew that it was a put on, but I forgot that. And so that's how she spoke. And then months later, I ran into her, and she's talking like this. And I was like, oh, who the fuck? What? It was so disorienting, but she was just like, the whole time she was around, that's the only way that she spoke. And it was really cute, because her and Kiernan really developed like this bond. They were always sitting off together, and I don't know what they were talking about, but they were always together. And so they had this grandmotherly, granddaughterly relationship that was really sweet to see.
That's cool. Toxic Avenger.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well,
tell me about making that.
Yeah, it was one of those things where my representative said they are soliciting pitches for the Toxic Avenger, and I was initially kind of like a lot of people, that movie was a huge influence on me when I was a kid. My friends and I are making movies, and that the tone and the style and the humor and the kind of like purposeful bad taste and everything about it, but also the independent movie making vibe. Like, it was one of the first movies I could think about that it seemed like it was just dudes making a movie in their backyard.
Yeah.
And so it was really inspirational on that level. And I was kind of like, I wasn't sure if going after that was the right thing, but then it occurred to me that like if there were to be an IP that a studio was doing that like I felt like I could have anything to offer, then that would probably be the only one. And so I went after it, and it was very much just, I just said, look, I don't necessarily have the whole pitch. I just feel like it should be R-rated. It should be a person in a suit. It should be faithful in tone, if not in exact storyline to the original. Kind of silly, but also kind of sweet.
Yeah.
In its grossness. And I wasn't sure what would happen, but I ended up getting the job to write it, and that developed into an offer to direct it.
What a dream!
What's that?
What a dream!
Yeah, it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal. And then we shot it in Bulgaria.
Yeah,
where they had this backlot with like a Main Street USA kind of set that they had just finished shooting the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre there. So if you look at the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's basically Tromaville with different signs in the windows.
Yeah.
But no, that was a blast too. And had a lot of really good friends working on that. There was, of course, that period where like we had a good premiere screening, and then there was sort of like a year and a half of like, oh, is it like in the vault or what's happening? It just had a very delayed release, which was nerve-rattling, as you would expect. it ended up in hindsight being the best thing because it meant that Cineverse was able to sort of be in a position to take it on, and they ended up being the perfect company to distribute it.
Right, because it premiered at Fantastic Fest,
Fantastic
right? Yeah,
Fest.
here, yeah, or no, in Austin.
In Austin,
yeah,
and then it took about a year and a half to come out. But and so at that time, it was very nervous, but then it finally came out, and all is well.
yeah. I'm a huge Troma fan.
Oh,
Again,
cool.
like grew up on those movies for sure.
Yeah.
He had never seen any of them, so I showed him the original Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
Before we watched yours, and I hadn't seen it in like I don't know 20, 30 years maybe, but wow.
Yeah, it's
it really holds up.
It does.
It really kind of looks big budget when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on there.
I think that was why we latched onto it
Yeah.
as young people.
Yeah. I was going to ask about Bulgaria because
Mm-hmm.
it was funny when I was watching it, I was trying to figure out what lot you were on because it looks familiar as, I mean, it's supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked up that you shot in Bulgaria and then it started to look like, oh, okay. I can kind of see that now.
Some of the other places that are off the lot, you can when they're in like the big ballroom, for example, it's
Yeah.
just there's something that's sort of like it looks a little more European,
Yeah.
which is kind of like I like that it's sort of
Ambiguous.
I mean, I know that Tromaville is New Jersey, strictly speaking, but in that version we were kind of thinking about it as like an elsewhere kind of place, and so it's sort of not exactly looking like the United States or not exactly looking like anything like that sort of off-center quality was sort of part of the appeal.
Right. If you could remake another Troma movie, which would it be?
I mean, I was Class of Nukem High, and we put a couple of little Easter eggs in there, hoping that maybe that would come to pass. But no, I mean that one just because of the high school setting, and there's a lot to play with there with like high school kids getting into that kind of.
Is that in the cards? Are you talking with Lloyd?
I do sort of text with him periodically about other stuff. I don't think there's anything percolating with that one, but who knows?
All right, fine. I thought I was gonna get a scoop. God damn it.
I would tell you if I knew, but like, yeah, I don't know.
There was a joke in that movie, and hopefully I'm not crossing movies again. I don't think so, but there was a reference to Jenkum in it, which I thought I was the only one who made Jenkum jokes.
You're not the only one.
I have met my soulmate.
There are many of us.
I was like, wait, did she just say huffing Jenkum? Because I
had to explain people. There was so like I had to explain like what word is this? Like people had questions. I was like, trust me, and they're like, nobody's gonna know what that is, and I was like, that is true. Most people will not know what that. And then there's even a cutaway to David Yao huffing Jenkum, and it was like, but the people that do get it are really gonna get it. And so I'm glad to be validated.
It was like, it got me right in the heart because it's one of those obscure like jokes that I have to explain to like the young kids that run the comic book store.
Yeah,
and like, no, you don't understand. Like, you huff it and then you pass out for like a whole day.
It was very dangerous back then. There was an epidemic.
Yeah, it was the whole thing. I remember.
You had to be careful.
What a funny. What leads you to put something like that in one of your movies?
The hopes that we would have it. I'm not kidding. Like I was like, it's one of those ones where we can have the broad stuff where people get hit in the knees and they fall down and everybody gets that. But like, if there can be ones in there where like somebody is sitting in the audience and it feels like the movie is like, psst, you. Yeah. Then that feels like a special thing, and it doesn't always pay off, and a lot of times, but also I kind of felt like it's not going to slow anything down. Yeah, it's not like we don't have to pause to talk about it.
No one's going to be like, "What is that?" They're just gonna.
It can just go right over your head, and we can keep moving forward, and it doesn't matter. But if it does register, then it's a special thing.
It blew my mind.
That's great. This is. I feel so delighted that you're telling me this because that was the whole hope. Was one day that somebody would get it. So.
That actress was great too. I forget her name.
Taylor Page.
Yeah, she's having a moment.
She's dynamite. She was just in the Boots Riley movie. Yeah, and she's just very cool.
Yeah.
I really love her a lot.
You work a lot with Peter Dinklage.
Yes.
I assume you guys have a really great working relationship. To keep coming back to the well with him.
Yeah, we just get along. We have the same sense of humor. We met at a film festival and just sort of stayed in touch, exchanging scripts, like what do you think about this? What do you think about that? That kind of thing. And then that led to working together. I would try to get him on stuff that I was working on. He was kind enough to get me into a couple of things that he was producing. So yeah, it's just been good luck. But I mean, you know, if you like somebody and you have a good vibe with them, then it's like it's natural to want to try and like
Keep working together.
Let's try and keep finding stuff to do together.
Yeah, I haven't seen the one that you wrote, Brothers, yet with Josh Brolin.
Yes, I co-wrote that. There was there was other writers on that, and Max Barkabo directed that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Talk to me about you do a lot of producing with a friend of yours, yes?
Yes, I have a lot of producing credits with my friend. He and I have a company, and so I will work with him as a support producer, meaning like if I'm working on a movie with him, like Green Room, we did this a lot. There was a lot of like location research or music research, help with casting, things like that. But I'm not the guy that's negotiating rates. I'm not.
Sure.
I'm not like the capital P producer.
Yeah.
I'm more of like the like helper outer.
Yeah.
Producer. But I get the credit.
Well, that's a cool place to be.
It's awesome.
You got you an Emmy.
Yeah. No, exactly. I was like, guys, don't send me this fucking Emmy. I didn't like. I had so little to do on that movie.
Yeah.
It frankly felt dishonest to get that award, but because of the paperwork, I got it. But Anish and Neil were the true producers on Rebel Ridge.
Well, that was an excellent movie with Aaron Pierre.
Yeah, that movie's dynamite.
Green Lantern coming out, or Lanterns coming out soon. Excited about that. Let's talk about your acting a little bit, because you're in a bunch of movies, but two that I really love. One I just rewatched, but Green Room, which you mentioned, is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about working on that.
I mean, it was Jeremy had the idea for that even before he did Blue Ruin, but it was too big. So he kind of he did Blue Ruin as a smaller movie, and that came next. And it really, prior to that, even including Blue Ruin, it really felt like a bunch of knucklehead buddies in a van running around stealing shots. This felt like the first one where it's kind of like, oh, there's like actual financiers, and we're putting an offer out to Patrick Stewart, and they're building this huge punk rock club set, that's fully functional and 360, and it was amazing because it felt like, oh God, we're really doing it now. Then on top of that, just that amazing cast, Anton Imogen, Joe Callum, Eric Edelstein, Patrick Stewart was amazing. So it was just sort of like this whole it felt like an adventure. It was up in the Portland, Oregon area.
Yeah.
And also I just think it's probably my favorite Jeremy movie so far, although he's working on a new one, and I'm going to go see a cut of that in a couple of days, and I have a gut feeling that one's going to be even better.
Even better. Green Room, I actually saw in the theater, and it was like, it really freaks me out.
I mean, it's like, it is really pitiless.
Yeah.
Like it does not sugarcoat anything, and I think that's, if people like it, that's probably why, because it's just kind of like, I don't mean gratuitous or like, look at how gross we could be, but how sort of like you really feel like you're watching those people suffer, which is, I think, a combination of the human performances and what they're doing, particularly like when Anton gets his arm chopped, but also the practical effects that are going on, the combination of all of that, the editing, everything sort of comes together, and you really are put in the shoes of those people and their suffering, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that is thrilling to a certain audience, and that's probably, I would guess, why people keep going back to that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like grounded in reality, and I think that's kind of why it's so frightening.
Exactly. It's not like we're gonna fight our way out of this. It's like they are stumped, and it's like, and they do fight their way out of it, but not in a cool way, in a very like desperate, I can't think of anything else in this moment kind of way. And I think people relate to that because it doesn't feel fantastical. It feels very
Yeah,
True.
real. The other one I just rewatched last night, which you're only in for a little bit, but The Hunt.
Yeah,
I love that movie
yeah,
so much.
yeah.
What a story with that movie, right? Because it's still like banned or something, or it
I'm not
was at one
sure.
point.
I think it had a problem with the release because there was a mass shooting, and I don't
Right.
remember which one because there's
You
a
know.
lot of them, but there was a shooting very close to when the original release was going to happen, and I think they pushed it for that reason. But it's come out since then, and the director Craig Zobel is fantastic. He did the Penguin, which was dynamite.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was another one where I just sort of I felt very lucky to get to be in this. You know, it is a small part, but that kind of means I get to sit there and sort of watch this amazing ensemble. Amy Madigan was there.
Yeah.
Betty Gilpin is amazing. Glenn Howerton. And I just kind of got to like watch and have like 3 lines and then just watch all these amazing people work.
Yeah.
You know,
What a good movie. I love it so much.
it was so fun. Yeah.
Other things on your credit list, Oppenheimer.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, just a little indie.
What was that like?
It was great. It was like I auditioned for it on tape, and a long time passed, and I feel like very naturally assumed this checks out. I'm not going to get this part, but then they called me, and I went in and did it while I was in post production on Toxie, so I was kind of doing both at the same time. But most of my stuff was just I don't mean just, but most of my stuff was contained in that one scene.
Yeah.
In a little like conference room sort of courtroom scene. And once again, I get to sit there with a notepad and you know, sort of react to this parade of fucking killers that come through. I mean, it was, you know, Matt Damon had a monologue. Jason Clarke is doing his thing. Killian was amazing. And it was just sort of like, it felt really special to get to be a part of that. And so I just tried to keep up with everybody, but it was like, and also I was just sort of like wanted to really watch Christopher Nolan work and sort of just kind of take
it in
mental notes.
That must have been really cool as a director to like see how he like moves around and
and what he would talk about, what he would choose to, for whatever reason, like that's the thing I'm going to give a note on. And because there was it was very succinct. There wasn't a lot of talking. It was a very warm set. It was a very friendly set, but there was not a lot of micromanagement. He would kind of like lean in and be like a little less angry, like, and that's it. And you're like, oh yeah. So just little kind of like surgical adjustments like that, and kind of, you know, make sure everybody's in the moment. It was just delightful.
Did you take anything from those moments to like in your mind to apply to future projects?
I mean, yes, but it was not like specifically do this, but it was like just the notion of boiling your words down, because yes, it's complex and nuanced, and there's a lot of dialogue and there's a lot of moments to hit, but from the actor's point of view, like it's a lot to juggle. They're trying to like keep pages and pages of text in their mind and marks and props and everything like that. And it just occurred to me, like if he or if anyone had come in and given like, do this, and made it really busy, it would be very difficult for anyone to kind of like keep track of what he's asking for. And I got to do this. And his precision is what it was just kind of like choosing what is the essential thing that's here. And for whatever reason, it, like in the instance I just gave you, the precise thing was like, he's not that angry, and we don't have to discuss it. We don't have to get into like what everybody's feeling or anything like that. It's just like a quick little 2-word thing, and it makes this huge tectonic difference in how people are relating to each other. And it was, you know, if you're used to the idea that like there necessarily needs to be a lot of discussion or like really getting under the hood with things, then like it just seemed like, oh, that's like you're making too much of it. You can just be very quick and short,
succinct,
sweet, and to the point, and get the same kind of results.
Yeah.
And I think there's a confidence in that I found really like, oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're working on Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, we would do that at night. Yeah. We would do this. We would do the sound mix at night and then come back and do that during the day.
What a wild couple of months or whatever it was.
Yeah. It was. I was delighted.
You've also written comic books. A couple. It's been a while. It seems like, but
It has.
talk to me about that.
I mean, I've always I grew up collecting comic books. I just fucking about a year ago I had to make space and I sold my collection, which
Yeah.
was like it was about 12 or 13 long boxes, and then about 6 months later my kids suddenly got into comics and I was like, you have no idea, like you just missed that train. But yeah, what happened was I had written a couple of scripts, screenplays, and they were very expensive. I mean, like the content was very expensive. They were very R-rated. They were original, meaning they were not
IP.
based on IP.
Yeah.
And so I tried to, they were not going to happen, especially at that time. But I knew some folks that were in independent comic book publishing, and so I kind of like redid them as comic books or graphic novels, and just as a way to do those stories. And so I did those, and then off that I got a couple of I got to do some Marvel one-offs for, like, you know, when they would reprint an old Avengers and they would put a new like 12-page story in the back with one of them. So I got to do a series of those, which was a lot of fun. Get to write some Cap stories and some Thor stories.
Is that a medium you liked working in that you would maybe revisit?
Yeah, absolutely. It just sort of I never really figured out a track to have it be professionally secure.
Writing comics is kind of a different beast because it takes like a lot more time and a lot more focus than you would expect.
It offers different things than a movie does. There's that like there's that total decompression of the story where it's just told in these singular moments, and the reader is kind of doing a lot of, without realizing it, they're filling in a lot of those blanks in between the images, and it's just a different thing than like blocking out a scene with actors where you walk here and you know what I mean. It's just a different thing that I really loved. But yeah, I haven't really had the opportunity to do that.
There's quite a bit of Toxic Avenger comics that still come out that we still sell, like Toxic Crusader, stuff like that.
Yes.
Did you do anything when the movie came out?
Yes, there is an anthology related to the movie that there's just been a series of sort of delays in it, but it's getting ready to come out, and it's a bunch of short stories set in the universe of the movie. And
cool.
And I did one of those stories with the artist whose name is Joe Flood, a great artist that I've done.
Did your other book?
I've worked with him a couple of times, yeah. And so we've got like a story in there, and then there's, I think, like 10 or 11 other short stories, but it's like a trade about like that thick. And that, my understanding is that that's coming out imminently.
Well, we'll have it next door. You can come sign it.
I would love that. I would love that very much.
Okay, so hypothetical question: if Kevin Feige or James Gunn gave you the keys to a property at DC or Marvel, which one would you do?
I mean, it like, of what's still available.
Or you could redo something, I guess.
I would have loved to have done Werewolf by Night.
Ooh.
And but I would have done what I wanted to do was like the party guy version where he's all about like hot cars and just like, and being a werewolf is like a massive inconvenience and a bummer like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I also really liked the black and white one that they did, and I loved seeing Man-Thing show up. And my understanding is they're doing a Midnight Sun, so maybe there'll be more of that. But yeah, no, those are good. If it was DC, I mean, there's already been a couple of versions, so I don't know that it would be possible. But I guess I would leave. I mean, Swamp Thing is my favorite, but they had that wonderful show that
you were in the show, right?
Yeah. I had a small part in the show, and I feel like Derek Mears is impossible to beat as that character. And then I also I really liked John Constantine too, but there's been a couple of versions of that too. So
yeah,
I think I would try to find something maybe that hasn't already had like really loving.
You're in the
versions of it
creature
done.
world. That's your vibe. Like different types of creatures. I feel like Werewolf by Night, Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
John
I mean,
Constantine.
I like the other ones too. I like the more sort of tights and capes stuff. But yeah, I like the monsters.
Yeah. Writing, directing, producing, acting, all those things. Which is there one that you gravitate towards? I mean, I feel like I'm getting the vibe that you're like filmmaker, whether that's like you're acting in it or you're directing it. But is there like a love that you?
It is just kind of wanting to be adjacent to movies at all. And if that was a production assistant, I did that for many years, and I would do that again. I like them for different reasons. I like writing because I'm a hermit and I can go off and just sort of like do this thing, and then it's not my problem, assuming somebody takes it. I like the directing very much because it's sort of like I can have the whole vision of the thing and feel like that's exactly, for better or worse, what I wanted it to be. And then with acting, that just feels very creatively satisfying. But there's only pressure on me to handle this one thing, and everything else around it is just none of my business.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like I'll be doing one, writing, and then I'm like, I gotta get out of this room. And then I'll make a movie, and then I'll be like, man, I don't want to talk to anybody for a fucking year. And then you go and act, and then you're like, oh, but I really would love to have like had some input on like so like whatever I'm doing, like once that one's done, I kind of want to do the next one. But honestly, it's whatever I can get, I'm delighted with.
You got a novel in you?
I just finished one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. When does that come out?
I don't know yet. I don't know if it's coming out at all. Like I literally
it's just in a drawer somewhere.
No, it's on a hard drive right now. But I have some folks looking at it to see if we can find a path to publishing. But we'll see.
That's amazing. All right, so the film is called Idiots. Comes out on August 28th. In theaters.
In theaters. Oh yeah.
Shit.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right. Are you gonna do? Is there like premiere or anything happening in LA? Not that we can advertise that. I'm just curious.
We're gonna have a screening at Vidiot's
right up the street.
Yeah. On the 10th, like right around the corner.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna pop around the country and do some screenings at different cities, Philadelphia and some other places.
Yeah.
And hopefully people will come out and see it.
That's amazing.
It's a fun time at the movies, so that's kind of what we're hoping for.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I had a fun time at the movies in my living room.
That counts.
Macon Blair, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
This was a blast, and that's all. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.